How's it going, Twitter? Kids are in a good bubble wrapped spot. No cars. Feel good for a few minutes. Contribution margin. Tough concept to sell, especially to the older farmer. Brought up seeing the milkman, thinking we all need to do one job and do it well. And when you say something like this, you sound like a smartass that just employing capital does not mean that the market owes you something. And that's where I really I don't like protective policy. Okay, I'm digressing here. So let's talk about contribution margin. Contribution margin is the difference between variable cost and variable revenue. And if the guy manages his time well, he can have multiple entities in different industries, the same field, outside of farming, whatever. It's all time, space, and investment. So the same thing here in a wheat field or soybean field. The hardest thing people can't relate to is we're not trying to grow a full wheat field. So if we only want 50 bushels, do we need to put the same seed down, the same nitrogen, the same seed, the same K, the same herbicide? It's all a compromise. So look at the space here. Is a weed going to grow right here? Is a weed going to grow right here? Now, and out front where I got into really fertile ground, I could actually stretch the wheat and it can touch. It can actually touch in some of the spots. That's pretty cool. And what is happening is just like the bent grass on my greens, it's reaching out for sun. That's why elasticity is important. When you start talking about contribution margin, it's all about how does each input contribute to the total bottom line. So the wheat doesn't have to pay my overhead. It doesn't have to pay for my wife's cabinets. It doesn't have to pay for everything. It's not like corn where that one crop has to pay for everything. We're doing two things. I'd like to add multiple, and I hate being defined by just wheat and soybeans, but it's pretty easy. But when you look down here, that one seed, instead of producing one grain head, it produces multiple grain heads. But this wheat is doing multiple jobs out here. And also, you hear all the time, wheat doesn't root down like cereal rye, but you're burning the cereal rye down. It's dead. It's in dead place when you're trying to produce the next crop. There's a big value in two living crops growing together, and I think the biggest one is finding this soil health equilibrium to where we're consuming water, we're infiltrating the water, we're feeding the microbes. When this other plant is just trying to survive, it needs some help. And a lot of what I'm trying to figure out is, where does this need to be in relationship? How wide does it need to be for this to actually grow better? And that's what got me excited last year, was our beans were better. So I think I could do this for 10 years and get better every year and cut my cost in some way, shape, or form. But I think it goes back to reduce herbicide, reduce bean seed, reduce wheat crop, 2 crops, and perhaps maybe at the end of the day taking out herbicide technology and all that kind of stuff. Again, contribution margin, that's why I have a goal by the end of next year. I want to have 10 entities that contribute $10,000. And if some of them take off and make more, even better. If some of them suck, then we get rid of them and we find something in its place. But being a serial entrepreneur is all about easy entry, using existing assets, and trying different things. Excited for this year, but man, I've got a lot of things on the docket, and if we can't farm for 3 or 4 weeks, it's going to be tough. But the good thing is I hate to say it, but this field is going to probably be our best crop, and it's going to make it a hell of a lot easier to sell to scale next year. Thanks for watching. There's our time-lapse camera, by the way. So it is taking a picture every hour on the hour for the next 4 months. See the beans coming up. So you'll be able to see the weed expand, come up, beans get big, and see how that works. Awesome. Mycorrhizal. Just another side note, I'm really excited. I've been doing a lot of research with biochar. Guy came out today. I think biochar is going to work so much better in a relay environment. You know, the research I do, it can actually be detrimental to kind of dead soil that just depends on commercial fertilizer. But if you're always having a living crop out there, then that habitat for microorganisms and just soil life, I think it'd be really cool to have the same setup to plant the wheat and the soybeans, lay some biochar down. And so talk about what I did with Zach from Rabbit today. We were talking about having a way of planting when it's wet, even today. And the idea would be to have some kind of really kind of like a roller that's just like your grain head and is on a time belt. And just imagine as your grain head, it's bringing that product in. Imagine this finger come in. I won't use my middle finger, but as it rolls, it just makes an indentation, puts the seed in, and you put one right here, 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 all the way around this hole. And then from a agronomic standpoint, we get better spatial configuration. We get quicker canopy closure, even more sun capture, and we don't have to wait on this. And basically, you would have minimal pounds per square inch and use the lugs to pull it and use gravity, and it would be beautiful. And we're going to try to develop that and show that in the field day. And actually, in the other field that we have not seeded yet, we're going to use the Romo and then come in and bring that in there and maybe plant something. And then ideally, what I want to do, and again, the wet is going to be a great excuse.